I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my theory tuition series where I'll lead you step by step through the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. These are freely available to download in either US letter or A4, and they accompany each step of the series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam, and also how to make the best use of your time when you're actually about to work through your paper and you're taking your exam on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. And now we're going to continue with the 2014 Grade 5 Past Paper B. And so if you turn with me to page 11, we'll make a start with question 2 to begin with. And as I always say, I do recommend that you have a go of this on your own first of all. It doesn't matter if you go wrong. It's always better to learn by your mistakes rather than just passively copying it through with me. Always work in pencil. I use a mechanical pencil just so it stays nice and sharp. And then if you do make a mistake, you can just rub that out and have another go. So this is the question where we describe intervals, and we've got to fully describe these. So let's make a start of this. We're always counting from the lowest note of the pair. So we're counting from here, from this C sharp, and we count this as the first step. This is the first degree, and we always consider this as our tonic, counting line, space, and so on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know that that's a fifth of some sort, and that's half marks already. So now we just need to quantify what sort of fifth that is. Now it might seem tricky to you working from C sharp. We can see that and visualise them much more easily if you use a piano keyboard. You can sketch one out quickly. It doesn't matter if you don't play piano, it's always useful to have this as a reference. So here we have C sharp to G sharp. Well, if we just move those intervals parallel down, we can see that C to G is a perfect fifth, and so just transplanting both of those up a semitone, it's still a perfect fifth. So we can clarify that if you find it tricky starting from a sharp. So C to G is a perfect fifth, so also is C sharp to G sharp. So we can complete that one now. Perfect fifth. Next one. So here we're counting from this lowest note here. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a seventh, so that's half the marks already. Now let's think about how that works out. Again, it's tricky starting from an E sharp to D, so let's just work it out by degrees. So make sure you can see both there. So we have an E to a D to begin with. Now E major, I know it's a sharp, we'll get there eventually. E to D sharp would be a major seventh, because D sharp was part of the E major scale. E to D natural has been made smaller. Major means greater, minor means smaller, and so E to D natural is a minor seventh, and then the fact that we raised that lower note to an E sharp makes it smaller again, and so we go from minor to diminished. So that is a diminished seventh. So it's really helpful to just visualize the increments of those semitones. So there we go, that's a diminished seventh. Next one. So here we can see that we've already exceeded an octave. Now you can just count up the steps as normal and go past the octave. However, I prefer to jump the octave and then call it a compound interval, and that way I know that fourths, fifths and octaves are still perfect without having to memorise new systems or new numbers. So here we have an E to a G sharp, 1, 2, 3. We know it's a compound third of some sort, and G sharp is part of E major, and so that's a major third. And you can see here E to G sharp is major, E to G natural would be minor, the G sharp is part of the major scale, so compound major third. Major means greater, if you remember. So let's look at the next one. So from here to here, our lowest note, 1, 2, 3, fourth. So we know that we've got a fourth of some sort. Now B to E would be a perfect fourth, and then we've raised that E by a semitone, and so we go straight from perfect to augmented. So that's an augmented fourth, because in major, there's no major or minor fourth, it goes just straight to perfect and augmented or diminished if it's smaller. So augmented fourth, there we go. Next one, so here we're going from here to here. Now then, we need to just be aware of what's gone on before, because in actual fact that is an A sharp, because the accidental is still active. It's not been cancelled by a bar line or a natural sign, so that's a sneaky little thing to watch out for. That is still an A sharp. So now we've got that, let's first of all decide what number interval we're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know it's a sixth of some sort. Now again, if you find it difficult thinking from a sharp, we can just see that C to A would be a major sixth, because A is part of C major, and so C sharp to A sharp, just the parallel movement in both notes means that's still a major sixth. So that's an easy way of just figuring that one out if starting from a sharp is tricky. So major sixth, there we go. Now then, let's move on to question 3. So we have a little bit of an interval situation again here. These are the actual sounds made by a horn in F. We need to rewrite this passage for the player to read it. So remember, a horn is a transposing instrument. If it plays a C, it actually sounds an F. So in order for it to sound this note, it must be written 5 notes higher. So we're transposing it up a perfect fifth. We're told not to use a key signature. I'm not sure why, but the form is that horns in orchestral music never have a key signature. They just stick to accidentals. However, for whatever reason, we're told not to use a key signature. Now then here, we start with the key signature that's sounding here, and this is the key signature for F major. It may well be that it's a minor key, but the difference is irrelevant. The key signature is the same, and any accidentals we'll just deal with it, and they will kind of level all that out. Just think of it as a major key signature, and so we need to count up 5 steps to transpose up a fifth. So if we count from F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're transposing up to the key of C major. And so in actual fact, C major would have no key signature, so there's nothing for us to bear in mind. If we were going to get a different key signature, we'd have to bear it in mind and keep adding it as accidentals as we went along. But C major has no sharps or flats, so we can now just go ahead and deal with the notes as we get to them. So I'm going to just first of all map out my bar lines, because it's much easier to keep everything in step with theirs. We've got enough to be thinking about without getting lost and wondering which bar we're on. So I'm keeping everything as aligned as I possibly can to their original. Means I'll have a little bit of space left over, but that's okay. If you've got a nice sharp pencil, you shouldn't be struggling for space in your bars. So this second one is here, and then that will be the end of that. So we have to literally just transplant all of these notes up 5 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes us to a D. So that's what we're going to be doing, and then we have to adjust all of these accidentals as we go along. So we don't need a key signature, but we do need the time signature. And then we just need to change these accidentals to suit. So we have the same note repeated, so that's the D. That's been lowered a semitone by a flat. This will also be lowered by a flat. Same note again. I'm not going to do stems yet, I've got enough to be thinking about. So we're adding a natural sign. Now it's a bit redundant really because the bar line cancels the flat. However, they've included it in their original, so I shall also include it. Now I'm going to go up a third, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and to double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that should take me to an F, and it does. Now I'm going to drop down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and have a double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that should take me to a B, it does. The same note again, but as a flat, because that's been lowered by a semitone. This is also lowered by a semitone. The same note again with the flat sign. Down a step. Same note again, it's going to be tied. So I'll pop the tie. I can guess that the stems are going to go up because it's below the middle line. So I can pop that tie in. Down a step. Down another step, and I'm just going to do another little spot check to make sure I've not gone astray somewhere. So if I double check up a fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should take me to an F. It does, so I know I've not gone wrong. So I can now carry on. So back up 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 takes me to the B, and it should be the same place. However, now I'm going to put an accidental sign. That's natural sign. Again, it's a redundant sign. It's just telling us that that flat no longer applies. The bar lines have done that job for us, so it's not really necessary. However, they've included it, and so shall I. So same note again, up a step, same note again, tied. So I can see that the stems will probably be coming down, so I'm going to put the tie in. If something needs changing, just to tidy up the manuscript, we can always just rub it out. That's why we work in pencil. Same note again, but raised by a semitone. So a C natural raised by a semitone is a sharp. Up a third. Back down a step. Now then, we've got a big drop and we're jumping line, so I'm just going to recalibrate and count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes us to an F. I can just double check that that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm in the right place, yes. So same note again. Now here, this is a natural sign that is raising from a B flat to a B natural. Now here, this is an F natural, and so in order to raise that, we have to use a sharp sign to raise it by a semitone. It's no good just adding a natural sign because we've no flat here to raise, and so we're just raising it by a semitone. And then up a step, that is also raised, so G natural raised by a semitone is a sharp. We'll tie that, and then up a step takes us to A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes us to A. That's job done, etc. So now all we've got to do is add the stems. No stems here. So these are above the middle line, so they can have the stems coming down. No stems here. Now then, these stems are going to go up. This could go either way, so I'm going to have this going up just to join company with these. That can go either way though. no stem. Now middle line here, so it can go either way. It's going to carry on to move upwards, so I'm going to choose to put these stems down. However, you don't have to, it could go either way. Stems down here. So just beam those together. By all means use a ruler if you feel like that would just help you to make it neat and more legible. So stems up here because we're below the middle line. And still stems up there. So for the purposes of that question, that's all the work done. You don't have to put all these dynamics and so on. We don't have to put the slurs and so on. If you find you've got time to spare, then by all means you can do that. But that's that question completed. We'll look at the next questions in the next video. I hope you're enjoying working through this and getting to grips with this subject. I'm certainly enjoying working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that would be really super. Please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. We'll continue with the next questions in the next video. In the meantime, please do have a look around my website. Go to sharonbill.com and have a browse at all the resource and information that's available to help you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.